All right, all right, all right. We are back. It's been too long. I was thinking before heading into this, um, what's something that I could put on myself to hold us accountable to keep doing this. So this is what I'm thinking, that we will release a recording at least once a week till the end of the year, right? And if I don't do it, then well, I haven't thought of the consequence if I don't do it. So I got to make sure it happens. So we'll come up with that over the next week to help us build that consistency with it. But today we just kind of wanted to reintroduce ourselves, what we're doing, update everybody with what's going on. I'm here with Coach Rudy and Coach Tanna. And there's been a lot of things going on just within the business, within the families, with our own personal life and journeys. So that's kind of what I wanted to do today is kind of update everybody with what's going on. People have seen us throughout social media, at the gym, and wherever that might be. But today's kind of an opportunity to, I wanted to touch both on where are each of us at, kind of with our personal life, fitness, and our faith. Because this is the Pray Train Eat Repeat podcast. So we want to make sure we're covering the basis, and then to make sure we're getting that focus part, we'll talk about what to expect moving forward. So who wants to get started? Let's start. Actually, we'll start with the faith piece. So Rudy, do you want to start pray us into the meet or today's talk?
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's bow the head. Dear Lord Jesus, I just want to thank you for allowing this moment to gather together, Lord, to be able to share a little bit of our faith, our passion for fitness, and the things that we look forward to in our future. I ask that you join us in this time together, Lord, that you open up doors through conversation that might impact a client or somebody new that hasn't heard us before, Lord. I ask that you use this and be glorified with it. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, to kick it off, Tana, ladies first. What has been going on? We've been talking about a lot of changes. So what's been going on with you? Let's start with the fitness. I feel like that's the easiest one to kind of recap.
It is. It's the easiest to start with and like get the conversation flowing. Fitness wise, just moving and grooving. I'm getting married in 72 days or something like that.
Yeah, but who's counting, right?
Yeah, but who's counting? I know somebody's gonna go back and do the math and be like, count 72 days from now and be like, oh, she's getting married on this day. So just staying consistent in that. I've been walking a lot more and walking a lot more outside, and that's been really nice. And it's actually brought me a lot of like joy and peace. So highly recommend that. Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
fitness life right now.
Fitness and a little bit of personal life. You know, the preparation for the wedding is always stressful. Um, give the listeners a little insight on the changes that you've made within the business and kind of what you've been working on.
Yeah, I haven't talked about that much. For those of you that have been around for a while, I was the name and face and the only one of Paradigm Wellness Co. And we have laid Paradigm to rest. I rebranded. My business is now thriving with Tanna. I'm building a little bit more of a personal brand, but I'm working on some really exciting things and really honing in on who I want to work with. And there will be some things coming very soon with all of that.
Right on. That's definitely exciting. What's been cool to see is your excitement because big changes like that could be scary, which I'm sure you still have that little fear. But I know Rudy and I could talk about when we started Be Different, it was the same thing. But one thing that you mentioned to me was something that was missing over the last couple of months that you recently kind of found and gave you more direction. Why don't you elaborate on that?
I knew you were gonna put the spotlight on me with this. Um, yeah, I mean, this could be a whole talk in itself, but I came to the realization about 2 months ago that I really was negligent to my faith, and I was searching for joy and trying to find answers in a lot of other things. I mean, I had tried everything. It was meditation, breath work, Reiki. And I'm not saying that those things are bad things. They just weren't providing the comfort or the answers that I was looking for. And I realized there was only one thing that could, and that's God. So with this rebrand, I'm integrating my faith into my business. I have a whole new kind of journey with that, and it's just been very refreshing, and it's just been a reminder of God's grace. One, that he's like, okay, you strayed a little bit, but now we're back, and like there's no judgment in that. And it's been a cool journey. It's everything in my life right now feels like a big transition, and this alongside it of like really dedicating my life and spending a lot more time in the word, and it's just been very refreshing for my soul.
Awesome. You know that we love that. We love hearing that, with faith and fitness being the focus, that Be Different had. And when you brought that to some of our meetings, like it just brought so much joy. And I was excited to share with Rudy, and kind of it's cool to see how God's working in you, and the timing, his timing is incredible too, heading into a wedding season, and a couple months away from the wedding. So there's big changes, and I'm glad that, you're finding that and continuing to carry that on. Rudy, what about you? What's been going on, kind of on your neck of the woods?
A lot of this month has felt like surviving is one word. Uh, it's one of those rare opportunities where, as a coach, you get to practice what you preach. As far as something that we always tell our clients is to use the dial method and never to shut their health and fitness on and off. And with my wife going through the dog attack, my wife was attacked by a dog uh late mid to late July. So it came with a whole bunch of other stuff, a good amount of time in the hospital, a surgery, a battle of an infection, and then an allergic reaction and the autoimmune flare that just seemed like this was lasting way too long. And I know that my wife personally started to feel a little bit of that weight, where she's usually very optimistic towards the tail end. I could tell that she was a little bit overwhelmed and frustrated, but she still stayed strong. She's back in the gym, and it's one of those times where prior to that, I was training jujitsu 3 to 4 times a week. I was working out my own workouts 5, 6 days a week, if not 7. But during that time, I had to really scale it down and turn that dial down, where I didn't attend any jujitsu classes, and my workouts got condensed it to bare minimum 45 minutes, 30 minutes here and there. But I still kept the momentum going forward, even though I was going through this time of a lot more stress that normally wouldn't be there. And I also knew that if I did burn the candle at both ends, there would be a high likelihood that I would get physically sick, as far as like a cold or some type of other illness that would uh, hinder the support that I needed to give my wife. So it's just juggling all those things and making sure that I was leaving enough in the gas tank to help her in the areas where she needed help in, and being there for the kids, and then still trying to fit those workouts in. It was a real test, but that dial method does work, because there's rarely an opportunity where you need to shut down your fitness and not do anything. There's always something you could do, whether it's 30-minute workouts. Some things might need to come off the plate, like the additional hobbies. Maybe you like playing basketball or pickleball. Those things might need to be on the back burner for a little bit, but you could keep those big foundational things going, even if it's scaled back a bit.
Yeah, one question I have for you is like, what was it that made you be able to turn it down to say a 1 and still be like, this is something, like this is still something that I'm going to implement? Because I think that's a hard part for people, is like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but what was it that urged you to push, to continue doing, something at level one, instead of just not doing it at all. And because that could be an opportunity for people like, I got to put my focus on Tia, on my wife and the kids, and like I don't have time to work out. So what was it that really helped you stay consistent with it?
Well, I know that working out gives me clarity and energy. And I'm talking about workouts just for to stimulate. I wasn't trying to progress any forward. I was just trying to maintain and stimulate muscles, keep the activity going. It also gives me what I needed, that little 30 minutes to an hour to myself to be able to be there and fully present with my wife when she was home, or when I had to go visit her at the hospital with the kids. And then it also is is what we talk about, just being able to do something and not let circumstances dictate your actions. Is, yes, sometimes things will throw you uh, for a loop, but you still have some control within that situation. And that's something that I completely refuse to give up, is some of those things that I know I could take action on. If I give it up to chance, then a lot of those things will not get done. And that's what really drives me to keep that fitness going, as opposed to just being, well, I'm in this season, I'm just going to let go and let the chips fall where they may, because that's rarely the case. You rarely need to do that. You just got to adjust. Even it
Mhm.
might be a 10-minute workout next to your bed. You could always do something.
Yeah. And I think that the big thing there is, it's not like an aesthetic or even a strength goal that you're focused on. It's how it impacts your family, you and your family, your connection to them, and you being able to be there for them, providing more clarity. And I think that's oftentimes so overlooked that people see the benefits if the scale's not moving. But how are your relationships? How are you showing up for work, for your family, for whatever it might be? You're able to show up more. So I really appreciate you sharing that. So I'll jump in a little bit about what's going on with us. We bought a house, so that's been an answered prayer that we've been working towards for a while now. So we've been excited about that. Got another dog, so a lot of positive things added into the life. But also during that time, Kelsey had two surgeries which were planned, which was tough, just because she was feeling, so weak throughout her recovery, and it was 2 weeks apart from each other. But it was literally the same time that Tia also had her surgeries from the dog bite, and there's just so much going on, and I think it really tested us. I always say God isn't testing us or challenging. He'll challenge us to become better, but He doesn't test us to fail. But maybe a lesson, and that was something that like we were really able to lean on each other, but also like lean on our community and clients, which was incredible. Whether it just be flexibility with the schedule or offering their prayers and thoughts and just listening to us throughout this process. So it was really cool to see that, and I'm excited to see we've been continuing to grow as a business and a community. And it's just been really enriching for the spirit. For me, fitness wise, I kind of scaled back a lot after training pretty consistently and heavily at like 5 a.m. With Richie and Dario. I just started experiencing more injuries. I tried to get back to playing hockey, and that caused injuries that lingered. And eventually came to the point where I was like, well, I know I need to sleep more because I did a testosterone test and it was significantly low. And based off, my diet and lifestyle, it shouldn't be that low. So I know sleep is something that's really important. I've been trying to be a lot more diligent with my supplementation, taking some ashwagandha and magnesium more consistently to try to help with my cortisol and focus more on the health things, the things that we talk about in practice. And sometimes it's the harder ones to do, to be able to get to bed consistently at a right time. And it's definitely helped. It's definitely changed my schedule and changed how things. So trying to adapt to that has been um, new for me. But yeah, man, I like right now things have just been going well. the ability to jump back on lives. And the reason why we wanted to get back on here is we want to continue adding value to our clients, so the things that they're doing, both our clients and Tanna's clients. We have big things in the plan for the future, and we see this as a component to be able to continue to give more. So some things that we could look forward to, and we could kind of jump into it today. We'll be adding some value for today, so you guys don't just hear us talk about our lives, which I know that's why you guys are listening. But things to look forward to moving forward. The goal is to jump on at least twice. So one time, Rudy and I will be on to talk general faith and fitness and health stuff that we're doing with our clients, and then Tana and I are going to jump on and talk more gut health, holistic health, and hormones and women's health. So we have a good variety. The goal is to much of an impact as we can. So we want to make content that people are learning from, and we could share that you guys, wow, this is really good stuff. I want to share it with my friend, my family, my coworkers, whatever, whoever it might be. The goal isn't to make us as big as possible. The goal is to help as many people as possible. So as you guys listen to what we're doing, and if anything comes about, that would be awesome if you could share it. We'll also try to incorporate some Q&A, so you guys could submit questions to us and we'll be able to answer them live. Or you could, if you aren't a client of ours, you could do some sort of, almost like a case study for us, saying, give us the information about, what your goal is, how old you are, your weight, your workout routine right now, or what you should do. So we want to be able to answer those questions. So that's another component that we'll be incorporating to more of these pieces. So to finish off today's topic, or because we're kind of reintroducing, I wanted to kind of treat this like we were working with a client that recently came back, because this is kind of us coming back into this space of the live streams and the podcasting. So if a client were to come back, like say you had a client for a year, they fell off or whatever may have happened, how would you proceed to get them going again? And this is for someone that's not training with you in person. So say it's someone that contacted you online. Hey, Rudy, hey, Tanna, I don't know where to start. I really fell off. I've been sucking with my nutrition. I just know I needed to contact you. Please help. Where would you start? Go ahead, Tanna. Let's start with you.
First and foremost, leading with grace in a season like that is very important, because I think a lot of people, especially when they were like on their game and they fall off, come back with an all or nothing mentality. And it's like, if I don't have everything in a row in the next week, I might as well just give up. So starting with the basics, I know, Jordan, you and I have talked about, you guys talk about this with your clients too. It's determining the things that you can do even on your worst days. So, I mean, you can think of worst case scenario for everything. What can you still accomplish? And setting that as our goal to begin with, because a lot of the time, also with that all or nothing mentality, people come in and they're like, okay, I haven't done anything for 6 months. I'm going to work out 5 days a week. I'm going to hit my protein target every day. I'm going to hit my steps every day. I'm going to get 8 hours of sleep every day. And they expect everything to be perfect. And when they don't have a plan on how they're going to integrate these things, which is why they're coming to us. And 2, when those things don't occur, we have disappointment. So setting realistic goals for yourself is always ground zero for me. Like, okay, so we want to work out 5 days a week and we've been working out 0 days a week. Let's start with 2. Okay. And then we can build on that. And then we're stacking wins instead of feeling like we're regressing, because we're setting these goals that feel really far-fetched. And that looks different for everybody too. So
Yeah,
if you're
no.
listening to this, go ahead.
Yeah, no, as I say, I love the part one, just especially as coaches, and even if this is, say you as a listener that you're someone reaches out to you because they see your success. Just letting people know, like, it's okay, this is gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Let's figure out what we could do now. You're trying to build that awareness. Let's not go 0 to 60, because that's probably one of the reasons why we ended up falling off. So no, that's great. What about you, Rudy? Anything else, something different that you might do when someone first comes back to you?
It's always something where I want to ease them back in to the process, get them some easy wins where that might be addressing sleep first. I know that a lot of times, especially with our clients, that's the biggest need. So even if we could get them sleeping 30 more minutes, an hour more, they're going to feel better. And as far as programming and exercise, it's it's progressing them in a way where we're not starting back to where they were, but also not holding them back so much where they feel they lost so much. So strategically adding some things that are going to challenge them, might be slower tempo, might be lower risk things, but they're going to feel like, oh man, I'm getting a great workout, but it won't be so much that they're going to be sore for 3 weeks or more. So definitely easing them back in, and then highlighting what they did in the in between time. So when they were away, did you just fall completely off? Did you try to maintain something and highlight what good things they did while they were away? Because they might have fell off, but they went on bike rides every day with their family. Okay, cool. Let's keep those bike rides. Now let's add a little bit more here with the strength training and um, get improve your sleep and get them feeling good about the process. Like Tanna said, it's very important not to have that all or nothing mentality and allow them to see that this is a long-term process and that those moments of just stopping and taking a break is actually what keeps them, just like yo-yo dieting. It's really easy to be very rigid and strict for a month, maybe 6 months. But if it's something you're not going to sustain for the rest of your life, then it's really a plan that you shouldn't be doing. So being able to identify those things, like what are you really willing and able to do, and let's start there. That those are the foundational pieces. And a lot of times we come from this culture where you see all this flashy things on social media where you see the ab pictures, you see the dudes working out with their shirts off and all that stuff, and it becomes more of keeping up with the Joneses as opposed to running your own race, which is something that the Bible tells us, like run your race, and do what you can, in pursuit of a greater mission. So that would be the number one thing, is just starting them off on the right path.
Yeah. One thing that really stood out that you first said was basically kind of helping them find that balance between doing too much and doing too little when they get back in, so they don't feel like they've fallen off so far. And that's where, coming back to, something that Tana said too, is having a plan in place for them to start to move forward with. I think a lot of people just want to know that there's a plan for them that we could follow. And there's a reason why they came back to us, is because they trust our plan and what we're doing. One thing I would want to help them identify, so we don't continue the cycles, like, let's look back at why did we fall off, and the time that we took off, what did we do? Like you were saying, Rudy. So let's figure out what caused the drop off, and not to avoid it in the future, but to be able to be better prepared. That way, when we do fall off from the gym, we are still doing X, Y, and Z. We're still making some sort of progress and not feeling like we fell off a cliff. Maybe more of a slow hill down. But what are things that we could do in that off time? Because that's what we want to do as coaches, is teach people, how to do things without us. Like, we don't want people to feel like they need a coach in order to be healthy. Like, a good coach is going to help people be able to become more independent, to be able to make decisions on their own, to overcome motivation, and have what Rudy had when he had to turn it down to one, be adaptable and be able to still say, hey, these are things that are not just, not because I identify as a fitness person. It's not just that it's part of my identity, but it's helping so many other aspects of my life. And I think we see that a lot with our clients that are high achievers, business owners that do make a lot of money, that have very busy, high stress schedules, but they fit time for the gym because they see the benefits. And then, of course, there's, the physique part that does come as a byproduct, but that's not their main focus. It's coming in, this is a stress relief for me. This is helping me have more energy and be a better human being, so I could be able to serve those around me a lot more. So yeah, trying to help people build awareness of what happened so that way we could be better the next time this stress comes about, because life's always going to be up and down, but it's how well can we handle those down slopes, how well can we adapt to it, how well can we continue pushing forward and not completely give up, or as Rudy says, is turn the switch on and off. We want to turn the dial up and down. um so I know we're coming close to holidays. Before we check off. This is a lot quicker than I anticipated. I thought we were going to go like 45 minutes. So, but no one wants to listen to a long podcast and listen to us talk for super long. But we're heading into the holidays. So, last thing I want from you guys is advice that you have. We're in August, about to be in September. Kids are getting back in school, which means holiday season is right around the corner. I know in the past we've done challenges, like a pre-holiday challenge to get people going. But what are some things that you would want people to be conscious of heading into holiday season, especially as October comes around? We got pumpkin spice lattes ringing in every radio station commercial. The Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas, all those things are coming about. So, what are some things you are telling your clients kind of now as we head into that season here pretty soon?
Rudy, do you want to go first?
Sure. So one area where I've really seen clients struggle is with alcohol consumption. And this impacts so much because it impacts their sleep, it impacts their food cravings the next day, their recovery, and it lingers more than just one night of drinking. And that really picks up during the holidays. Also, football season. I know that's something that Jordan and I look forward to every year. It's like borderline, our Christmas,
Every Sunday.
every Sunday, the begin. But it's one of those things where there's such a huge impact, and the joy or the enjoyment that you get from consuming alcoholic beverages, you pay a big price for that. And I would encourage clients during this holiday season to have a plan when they go out. One thing that I always coach clients is for every one drink they have is to also drink one big glass of water. So they're slowing their pace down. That would be like my level 1 practice. The level 2 practice would be completely cutting off alcohol for 2 weeks and just seeing how their sleep quality, how their food cravings, and all these other things have an impact, because then they'll also have an awareness of when they do drink, like, man, I felt so much better when I didn't drink. And also play around with non-alcoholic versions of drinks. So now there's a lot of good non-alcoholic beer options, which I regularly purchase. There's a really good brand, Athletic Brewing Company, and no way affiliated with them. You could try whatever brand you want, but
no free ads.
Play around with that with different non-alcoholic versions. It's a huge market blowing up. Maybe you've got to hit up an investment person and invest in some of these companies, because a lot of people are starting to realize that they just enjoy the social aspect of drinking, not necessarily the part of being drunk and hung over the next day. So having some of those mocktails or alcohol-free beers is something that I'm going to challenge clients this holiday season to try to incorporate.
Yeah, maybe we could do a Be Different sample tasting.
Yeah, like a blind test. Like,
yeah,
which
one's a real beer?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tanna.
Okay, mine is similar. That is something I notice a lot with clients too. And ironically, I feel like my older clients fall more like to peer pressure in those environments, and conversations I have a lot of the time are the social aspect. And it's like, well, I was there and everybody else was, kind of thing. And then we get into the conversation of like, well, did that really affect the time you had? Like, did that change the conversation? Did it bring you closer to those people? And it's always like, well, no, like it was just something that everybody else is doing. Yeah, for everything, especially during the holidays, is having a plan and sticking to it. If you're tracking macros, and you know that you're going to have a pumpkin spice latte, for one, there are so many more macro friendly options for a pumpkin spice latte than like the regular thing. Um, but two, planning it in your day, pre-tracking your day if you're tracking macros to include that. That way, at the end of the day, you're not like, I'm 600 calories over. What happened? Um, but doing that when you're going to holiday parties too. And I always recommend bringing a dish that you know will help you stay on track. So if you know that the appetizers are always spinach dip and bread bowls and charcuterie, and you know that you overindulge on those things, bring something that one you can share, but two, you can enjoy and you can feel like you are still moving the needle in the right direction. So I mean, I always recommend like you can do like a buffalo dip and like jazz it up with some Greek yogurt. Then you know when you're eating it, like it's chock full of protein. But really just having a plan and not letting other people's opinions cause you to waver from that.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff. And I kind of want to touch on both of those things that you guys mentioned. Because the conversation, people like if you bring non-alcoholic beer, people will say things. And if you bring these healthier dishes, people will say things. And that's part of it is preparing for such conversations. Like that's part of the anxiety people have, like, oh, what are people going to think of if I bring non-alcoholic beer, if I bring a healthier casserole? Like, yes, once you understand that, now you could overcome that feeling, or prepare for it and let them know, like, these are my goals, this is what I'm working towards. And I get it that the argument on the other hand is like, well, these holidays only happen once a year. Well, actually they happen 3 times a year if we want to talk about Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. There's Easter. There's we have a lot of holidays that we eat a lot of different food, and oh well, we just want to enjoy our time. That is completely fine. These things aren't going to take away from it. And we understand maybe you won't be 100% with making the effort on all of them, but it's making a little progress each year after year. Understanding how you feel when you do drink alcohol, or even after the holidays hit, how do you feel in January? How often are you getting sick? So it comes a lot with the changing of your self-talk and identity, and understanding the goals you are working towards start all up here. We could bring all the right foods, we could bring the right drinks, but if we're not up here, we're eventually going to cave. And I could speak on experience from that. That's why I've always struggled with I love food, I love eating, I love drinking. Like I'm very social. It's always been who I am and it still is. But it took years to get to that point. And it was just year after year, just getting a little better. Each year trying to add more protein and not stuffing myself, even though when I get together with my cousins, everybody knows me as the one who eats the most food. That's not like I have to identify as that's not me any. I don't say me anymore. That was and is me, but there's also the healthier version of me. So having a strong narrative and beliefs in it, and also talking to the people that you're going to be coming with or going to the events or meeting with, if they know about your goals, they're going to be more supportive. Some of them might not, because they're like, "What the heck, Jordan? You love beer, you love to drink, you're a wino." Like, yes, that's who I was, but things are changing. I want new goals for myself. And that's where a lot of hard conversations happen. We know that when there's tension, there's growth. When we have to push through hard something difficult, we are going to grow through that process. So let's write this down, Tana. We are going to put together we should put together like the beer thing with Rudy. So if for our local people, maybe we could do a get together somewhere, so we could try non-alcoholic drinks before the holidays. And then we'll also work on some recipes that we could share. And then we would love to hear of other recipes that people have come up with. I know both of our communities have already done that. We have people that are trying alternatives for the holiday season. So we could definitely jump in, kind of collaborate with some ideas for that. So we'll keep the conversation going. Look at us getting ahead of the game. It's only August. We're talking about the holidays. So any last thoughts? Do you guys have anything you want to throw out there about kind of jumping back in here? What are you excited about? If you're excited, I know Rudy, you talked about you wanted to do something.
Oh yeah, I started implementing the spiritual reps. So look out for video. I'm aiming for at least one time a week to have a video where I connect Bible scriptures to our fitness journey. There was one uploaded today. I did one I think last week. So I try to keep them short. Today's was a minute. The one before that was like under 2 minutes. Just a little bit of meat for you guys to chew on and things that I'm always studying scripture. I'm always in the Word, whether I'm listening to it or reading it or doing a Bible study with my boys. We're always trying to grow in that area. And then one last thing on the on the fitness side is another thing that I do on a regular basis now is I ask myself, how do I want tomorrow to play out? And I usually do that before I'm considering having a beer. And I look at the time, I'm like, okay, I got to be up at 5 in the morning. How do I want my night and my sleep to be? How do I want to wake up and how do I want to feel the next day? And usually that's enough for me to refrain from drinking that alcoholic beverage because I know how much better I feel when I'm fully rested and I get deep sleep. And I know that in that moment, if I consume that beverage, it's going to be enjoyable for that 1 hour, 2 hours. But then my sleep's going to suck, and the next day is going to be a little bit rougher. So just ask yourself that question before you either consume a lot of food or an alcoholic beverage. Just how do I want the rest of this evening to play out? How do I want my next morning to play out? And that envisioning that usually helps you make the right decision.
Nice, I like that. It's a lot of pause and think about, okay, not just in the moment of trying to enjoy something right now, but looking long term, kind of the domino effect of this next choice. So I really, really like that.
Right.
What about you, Tana? Anything?
I'm excited to be back in this space. I know, Jordan, you and I talked about including more spiritual reps ourselves too.
Yeah.
And navigating what that looks like, sharing it with people too. Now Rudy's got me thinking about like all the coaching points I want to touch on going into this holiday season. But I'm just happy to be back. I'm happy to be working on the projects I have going on behind the scenes and just to have this new joy and this new energy for my work again. I think people don't talk about losing sight of that very often, and it can happen, but just reframing things in a way where they align with my coaching, they align with the messages I want to share, and I believe in them wholeheartedly. So yeah, I'm just excited to be back sharing and educating and providing people with more value.
Right on. Yeah, so my hope for these talks that we'll be doing will be closer to 30 minutes. We'll provide both a faith and fitness tip and focus, I guess you could say, at the beginning. So we're just going to give you the good stuff at the beginning, some updates of things that are going on, whether it's in the health industry, current events, whatever we find to be consistent for us. And I was thinking of putting together some games. I know, like I said, I want to do the Q&As as well. So there's a lot of things. We'll see how it plays out. But just like working with the client, we also want to find our flow. We want to find what's going to work best for us. So the goal is 2 of these a week so we can start pumping out some good content. It might be one a week and then two and then one. We'll see how the flow goes. Rudy's headed to Cambodia, so I don't know how we're gonna end up on the same time. So you might be getting just one-offs from him. You might get one-offs from me, and we'll see. Yeah, we're just gonna try and make sure we're gonna hold each other accountable to this because we know the power of being able to just give knowledge and give value. That's something that God has blessed all of us with in the health and fitness space that we want to share. Like we genuinely want to provide information. We want to help people find answers to achieving the health in the body and the energy and just the longevity, all the things that they are trying to do. And if we could be the catalyst to that, that'd be a win for us. So where can we find both of you guys? Tana, where can we find you?
I am now mainly hanging out on Instagram at Thriving with Tanna and on Facebook. I'm also awakening the group, and the group is also Thriving with Tanna.
All right now. What about you, Rudy?
You can find me at Health Coach Rudy. I believe that's Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. I just recycle all my stuff on TikTok, so it's just uh, another area where you can see the videos and the spiritual reps and some of the stuff that I've also been posting some of the progress that we've been doing with my wife. She's getting after it at the gym again, and I'm blessed to be part of that. You know, coach her up a little bit, but she puts in the work.
Heck yeah. She's fortunate to have you. And you can find me on Instagram at Coach Jordan Simpson, Facebook as well. And then you can always find our stuff at bedifferentcoaching.com. We're going to be coming out with new programs, some new resources. We're going to try to upload more stuff so we could just continue fueling the fire for fitness, fueling the fire for your faith. And as always, guys, remember to pray, train, eat, repeat.